Hello and welcome to the program Out in Front. It is often said you feel the pinch when the pain touches home or base. Her story into the world of humanitarian services is one of reality check and thanksgiving. Rosemary NGEHSAB ATANGA is the president of the ATANGA Kidney Foundation, AKF, a non-governmental organization taking care of underprivileged kidney patients in Cameroon. Rosemary is a former student of Our Lady of Lourdes College and Cas Bambali in Cameroon, a graduate of the Strayer University in the United States of America, and she is presently working as a compliance analyst at Global Payments. She hails from Akum, call it Small London, in the northwest region of Cameroon. She is married to Chrysanthus Atanga, and she is mother of 5 children. You're welcome to the program, Rosemary.
Thank you for having me, Nene.
Now, Rosemary, you are a compliance analyst at Global Payments. You want to tell me a little bit about your job?
First of all, Global Payments is a credit card processing company, and we help companies accept credit cards and make payments. You know, like when you go to the store, if you have a credit card or, and you want to buy something, when you swipe that card, the payment gets processed, and that is what my company does. So I work as a compliance analyst, and what we do is make sure that merchants, banks, and all those who accept payments through my company adhere to the Visa and MasterCard rules.
All right. Now, there is no greater gift than literally putting your life at stake for someone that you love. Your journey into humanitarian services kind of sum up this, because I understand that at one point in time in your life you had to donate one of your kidneys to your husband.
You are right, Nene. And sometimes when you never know what your next 24 hours will look like until something happens to you, and that was exactly the case of my husband's situation. I was in the United States in 1998 to have a child, and after the birth of my son, we were preparing to go back home when my husband decided to go for checkup as a high blood pressure patient. And it was so traumatizing when we got the news that he was diagnosed with kidney failure. And at that point, we had to make certain decisions not to travel, and then to figure out the next, next phase of his treatment. And that was how I learned about organ donation. And when I found out that it was possible for a non-family member to become a donor, I called the hospital and got information, and then decided to go in for the initial screening. And that's how the process started. And 5 months later, we made the decision to go for the surgery.
At any point in time, were you scared like I might die during this process?
Honestly, it was very, very overwhelming for him to die. And then the fact that I had a newborn baby, the whole aspect of me raising a child with no father was more scary than the thought of me dying. So I never really thought about myself at that time. I was just thinking about, if I do this, will he leave?
So can you tell me actually at what point in time you felt like I had to create this non-governmental organization to help kidney patients?
Actually, 6 years prior to starting this organization, I had been visiting the dialysis center in Bamenda, which is the only center I knew at that time, when Dr. Awasum was the director of the center, or director of the hospital. And of course, he knew our story because he's also a very close family friend. That's Charles Awasum, I think, yes. He's a very close family friend. So I talked to him about starting an organization, and he was very, very interested. And he said, not interested, but he was very excited because there was a growing number of kidney patients at the center, which was just very new at the time that I visited. And I took a tour of the place. I saw I saw a lot of young kids, and that completely broke my heart. And I think that is where my passion came from, because the whole thought of seeing a sick child did not sit well with me. So I told him that I was going to start a kidney foundation. And he said, oh, this is a very, very good idea, and I think it's going to benefit the patients. And at that time, there were just 25 patients at the Bamenda Hemodialysis Center.
But you want to just summarize for us some of the realities that kidney patients do face in Cameroon today?
It is very traumatizing for you to be told that you have kidney failure, because at that point, your life comes to a standstill. You cannot wake up and just travel as you want. You cannot eat what you want. You cannot do so many things. So it's a very, very constricted lifestyle. Kidney disease is very expensive to maintain. As a kidney patient, when they tell you that you have kidney disease, especially in a place like Cameroon, any part of Africa, you need to be worried. The cost of dialysis itself is at 5,000 per session, and each patient gets 2 sessions a week. So with 8 sessions, so every month you have to have at least 40,000. That is just for dialysis. It doesn't have anything to do with blood transfusion. That kidney patient, depending on where you are, you have to deal with transportation costs. It's major because I have patients in Cameroon who travel from, say, Bafoussam to Bamenda twice a week, 32,000 a month. If you have to have blood transfusion, a pint of blood is 16,000. Some people might have up to 4, 5, they might need like 5 pints of blood. 4 pints is how much? 32, that's 64,000. I have a patient as we speak who needs 4 pints of blood before he can go back to dialysis. That is 64,000. That is part of the reality. People need follow-ups, and follow-ups are very, very important, because if you don't follow up, you don't know the state of your health. It takes a lot of follow-up for you to continuously maintain your health, know what to reduce in terms of medication and all of that. So if you just go to the basics, that might be, your blood test will run up to about 15, 20,000 or more. And then you're talking about the food that you have to eat. The fact that so many patients, the medications, so many patients don't even have money to buy their medications. If you look at it, the first time that I told a doctor to send me the actual cost of maintaining one kidney patient with the subsidy that government has given, because first of all, what the patients are getting now is a subsidized treatment, because without the subsidized treatment, each patient would have been paying 110,000 francs per session. So with that, it's about 190 to over 200,000 per month.
Wow.
I don't know how anybody is able to sustain that kind of a treatment for a long time, let alone someone who doesn't even have any job, doesn't have a means of an income, or those little kids from very poor homes. And for some reason, there are so many of them on dialysis who are, being catered for by very poor parents. So I think that is a very, very difficult part of kidney disease in Cameroon and so many parts of Africa.
And the psychological part as well. Mm-hmm. Now let's talk about your actions, because you understand that the Cameroonian government has done a lot to kind of help out with the kidney disease. They've opened several dialysis centers. They have subsidized the cost of dialysis. So when you look at all what government has done, where do you step in as a non-governmental organization?
I am so passionate about getting help for those little children on dialysis, because they are going to have a longer period of time. I mean, right now, that's the only option. Cameroon does not yet have a transplant program, but I know they're working towards that. And it's not going to be easy. Right now, we don't have a lot of nephrologists to manage those patients. So it's a long way before we get to that. We step in, first of all, to assist patients who are, unable to pay for their dialysis, patients who do not have a job and, they have to take care of their diet. So we step in to help the patients, provide them with that financial assistance. And then we also help with educating people about kidney disease, which is prevention. That is the bigger part of our work, preventing kidney disease, because if you know how to prevent it, then you won't get to that point where you have to be on dialysis. And I think in the long run, if the government can partner with us in the prevention or the awareness campaign, we'll be able to reduce the number of patients that these dialysis centers have to deal with in the long run. We started this thing, and what we're doing for the most part was just reaching out, and Bamenda had a crisis, and that was the first thing that we did as an organization. We stepped in to get 18 patients back to dialysis by rallying some funds. We organized a conference and a training workshop, and there were 7 health professionals who traveled from Germany, from US, to provide training in Cameroon. It was very successful, and at this point, I really want to mention Dr. Anyangwe Ngasa, who rallied his colleagues, because to be honest, because people keep asking me, how do you even do something like this, which is so medical? And I keep telling them, I started it, but I am so grateful that God keeps sending the right people, and he is one of those people that saw the vision and, bought into the vision and rallied his friends, got a nephrologist who also brought many other people, and we went to Cameroon and was able to do a wonderful training. And that is what we're going to focus on, because Africa has suffered a lot from brain drain. So our foundation is on the part of brain gain. We're taking back the technology, everything, the knowledge back to our country, because when you leave people with the knowledge, then it becomes theirs. On the 4th, we were in Boya. We did the same training. From Boya, we visited Yaoundé, met with the head of nephrology, who took us around the hospital to show us what they are doing and how we could help. We arranged for free consultation of patients at the Bamenda Hemodialysis Center by a nephrologist. And why I say this, because Bamenda does not have a nephrologist, and Bamenda has not had a nephrologist for over 2 years. So it was very, very exciting for them to be able to voice out, some of the problems they were facing, and for someone to listen to them, give them advice, and then us sending someone who actually had to go through every single patient. We had the kidney walk where over 250 workers came out. We did free blood pressure screening, and of course our very, very successful program by bringing patients from 4 regions on CRTV. And thank you, Nene, for that program, because I think that was the turning point of the reality of kidney disease, or what we are doing. Many people never understood what was happening. That program enabled people to see the reality, especially when they saw those kids come on TV, So those are the things that we have done in 6 months.
Now you have this very revolutionary program, I should say, your project, where you get kids to be adopted by especially kids suffering from kidney disease, to be adopted by other people, by people who can help.
That program came about because I realized that kidney disease is a lifelong illness. If you're on dialysis, especially in Cameroon, it's going to be a lifelong. It's not like here where you have a transplant option. So that program came about in order to, as a result of trying to get people to sponsor some of these kids from very, very poor homes, so that they could get someone to help them. And the first person who actually adopted a kid was one of the doctors who came for the training in Boya. He adopted a 12-year-old child who was actually diagnosed by the team, our team of nephrologists who came from who came for the training. And it was so devastating to the family at that point, and before they left, one of the doctors decided, or the Mansfield decided, to take over that kid's treatment, and they've been sending, payment to that treatment directly through her center. And then when the guy went back to Germany, he told them about what he saw and the number of children on dialysis, and another doctor agreed to sponsor another child. So we had the second person who was sponsored from the dialysis center in Yaoundé. Right now we have 6 children who have been adopted. I think 3 from Yaoundé, 2 from Boya, and 1 from Bamenda. So it's successful.
All right. So your organization partners with different people from, different nationalities, great medical experts from Germany, Cameroon. And I just want to find out, how do you manage to get people to believe in your vision? And because I believe that you should be doing something that the others are not doing. What makes your organization different? What makes them get manage to get people focused, people to flow with you?
To be honest, I am very passionate about what I do, and I get the message across in the most passionate way I can, because sometimes, and oftentimes people have asked me, why do you have to send the picture of a child on social media? People don't feel good about it. And of course, I do obtain permission from whoever sends me pictures of a child on dialysis. I do obtain permission from, their parents, or I always tell whoever is sending the pictures to obtain permission, because you can get sued for doing that. We also work with the grassroots. Grassroots mean we are in the, we go to the people. The people don't come to us. We go to the people. We look, we have a lot of volunteers even in Cameroon. If they hear that there's a kidney patient there in crisis, we reach out to the patient, find out what is happening, and see how we can help. So we are in, we are everywhere. And that is how I want it to be, because that's the only way we can make an impact, And, in terms of bringing those guys who came, or the medical specialists who came to Cameroon, it's been very resourceful being online. By profession, I have a degree in marketing, and I use that to reach out to people. And that's how I was able to contact Dr. Ngasa and so many other people that I've met online that I don't know, that I just got to know them by doing this kidney thing. And when they go to, they see my vision, they know that I'm not just doing it for fun. I have a story to tell. I'm successful as a person. They find a need to partner with us so that we can do more, because we are doing the work. We are with patients every day. We even go above and beyond. Patients die and we go there to mourn with their family members. We just had a case of a mother who had an only child, 8 years old, and we discovered that child a little too late, but we did everything to, get help for that child. But the help came a little too late, because by the time we got funds to help that child, the materials to support her were not there. They did not have her catheter size, fistula size, according to her doctor. I guess maybe that was the first time they had a patient that young, I don't know. But unfortunately, the child died. And it was very, very traumatizing for the mother. And I just recently got her something to do, because while she was taking care of this child, she was not working, she was home. So we don't leave them traumatized for life. She found somebody who is who has gone through that same path. So what is the coincidence that God is not working for this foundation?
A lot is needed in terms of finances, manpower, to be able to carry out your projects. Where do you get your money from?
We get most of our funding from people like you and me, the community, people who refer us to other friends and family, we just get our funding for now from the community. We had a gala last year where we raised we raised over $12,000, and online we raised about $4,000. And from other people, we raised over 18,000, which is what we're able to do all of these things that we've done in the past 7 months. There are times that I've had to pull money out of my pocket. And as hard as it is, I still feel, it's not something that you feel bad doing, because you're saving lives. There is a need for people to really, really support this foundation, because we are doing a lot of good work out there. We have centers calling us every day because they have patients who have been admitted. They cannot do, they cannot get their fistulas. They can't pay for dialysis. They can't pay for blood work. They can't pay for their medications. So we need a lot of help.
Despite all what is being done, a lot is still needed to beat kidney disease in Cameroon. What are your suggestions?
This is one aspect of health that has been ignored in so many parts of Africa, and It doesn't have funding. It doesn't have the manpower to take care of the patients. If you look at Cameroon right now, there are many centers running without a nephrologist. We are calling for people in the diaspora, especially people in the medical profession, to partner with their counterparts in Cameroon so that they can share knowledge. And even for those who are managing some of these centers, they can share knowledge on how to better manage the patients, and most of all, sensitize others who are going into the medical field to think about nephrology as an option, and most of all, to create the medical force that we need to be able to fight kidney disease. Because if the doctors are equipped with the knowledge that they need or they require, they will be able to diagnose more cases before it gets to the end stage. We need to educate people about kidney disease. It is real. Collaboration with other foundations too is very necessary, because this is not something that as a foundation I can do on my own. Well, if we get supplies, which is very, very easy to get for free. Like right now in my house, I have a whole lot of supplies that have been donated. But just say I get a container load of stuff. I don't want to go to the cost, to Cameroon and have to pay as if I'm going to sell those things, because I will donate some to various centers and then use some for our sensitization campaigns. So the government has to facilitate us doing our work.
You want to talk to me about the projects that you have in the pipeline?
The projects that I have in the pipeline, in the long run, I'm looking at the foundation having a dialysis center. I'm not sure when, but we are really, really working hard towards that, and then be able to help with blood drive, because patients are so worn out trying to get blood for those who need blood transfusion. And let me mention that we have been able to go into partnership with the General Hospital in Bamenda to help with the blood drive. So this just started recently, and what we'll be doing is we will be reaching out to the community to encourage people to go and donate blood to the hospital so that our patients can benefit. And with that, the hospital is going to give blood at a cheaper rate, and that cheaper rate is going to be about 12,500 from 16,000. And why that is important because most of the times patients have to go out there and look for their donors, and then most of the donors will ask for money for blood. We just started, but it's going to be successful, as from what I see.
All right. Now, you cannot leave without telling me how you became the most beautiful student of the University of Maiduguri, Nigeria in 1991.
Yes, I was Miss University of Maiduguri 1991, one of those things. And why I'm doing things like this, because many of our little girls don't dream about becoming Miss anything because of their illness. But here am I. I was once Miss Unimate 1991 when I was a student at the University of Maiduguri. They launched the pageant, the beauty pageant, and someone told me that, do you know you can win? I said, no, I cannot win. We are in Nigeria, and there are so many beautiful girls here in Nigeria, but they say you're beautiful. So I went ahead and took part in the pageant. Thank you, Lillian Fomenung, Nukuna Fomenung. And I took part and I won, and I reigned for 1 year, and it was fun.
All right. Okay. We've come to the end of the first part of the program. I'm taking you to the second part, which is Tic Tac. Rosemary NGEHSAB, ATANGA, your strength.
Passion, marketing.
Your weakness.
I don't know how to say no.
One thing America has taken away from you and one thing America has given you.
That America has taken away that family togetherness. It's giving me time consciousness. This is not a country where you waste time. Every minute is very important.
One thing nobody knows about you, not even your parents, your husband, your kids, your friends.
I am a crybaby.
What animal would you have loved to be if you were not a human, and why?
A dove. A dove is peaceful.
What do you miss most back home?
I miss everything. The roadside corn, the plums, and all the good food. I love food.
Food on your mind.
Corn and plum.
Back home, France.
My class of 85 from Lord's College, Mancon.
Speak the dialect.
Abella, Abena.
Good.
How are you?
Music on your mind. We are the children. We are the ones
who make a brighter day, so let's start living. There's a choice we're making. We saving our own lives. It's true, we'll make a brighter day, just you and me.
Perfect. It was nice having you on the program, Rosemary.
Thank you, Nene.
And it's on that note, ladies and gentlemen, that we come to the end of today's edition of Out in Front. Hope to see you next time.